Want to hear me okay? Yes. My name is Christina Bediako, and I am the Area 4 Coordinator of Central Region, assistant to the 21st Central Region Syntactics Tiffany D. Hightower. I stand before you today in the absence of Syntactics Tiffany D. Hightower as she is traveling. It is with great honor and pleasure that I introduce the 23rd International Grand Basileus of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority, Incorporated, Bonita M. as our keynote speaker today. Bonita M. was elected the 23rd Grand Basileus of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority, Incorporated in the summer of 2012. She was then re-elected in 2014. Mrs. Herron has had the unique opportunity to serve the sorority as an employee and a volunteer. Prior to her election as National Vice President and President, she was an employee, having served for 23 years as Executive Director. Mrs. Herron has received various awards such as Sigma Gamma Rho Grand Basileus Support Award, Sigma Gamma Rho Founders Day Award, Board Member Service Award, which was presented by the National Coalition of Black Meeting Planners, Eta Phi Beta Community Service Award, and in 2014, Mrs. Herron was awarded the NPHC-Chicago Divine Nine Legacy of Service Award, just to name a few of her awards. When she isn't at work or traveling for the sorority, Mrs. Herron enjoys spending time with her family and playing cards with her friends, usually pinochle, and practicing with the Sisters in Spirits, a praise dance team for those with a little age at St. Albie's Catholic Church. In September of 2015, Bonita M. was elected and installed as the chairman of the Council of Presidents of the NPHC organizations. She hopes that all members of the Greek community will embrace the collaborative theme, the power of nine, one voice. United, we are very powerful. Commitment, dedication, wanting to give back, seeing others succeed, dedication to her family, continue to serve her community, and the sorority is Bonita M. Please, let's welcome our keynote speaker, the 23rd International Grand Basileus of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority, Incorporated, Mrs. Bonita M.
Sometimes when you hear these introductions, you're like, what are they talking about? And I see one of my fellow sisters in spirit over in the corner somewhere. Raise your hand. I don't know if she's in the room, Cheryl Rutherford. But anyway, she is one of those dancers at the church, graced with a little age. I want to say good afternoon to all, because as they say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us give thanks and rejoice. And I'm rejoicing not only because of this day, but because of the weather. Now, when I travel around, there are some who say, you're from Chicago. You're accustomed to being cold. And I politely told some people that I talked to this week, well, we will be in the 50s this week. I also want to say, how was your lunch today? Great. So after a delicious lunch, and when the room is a little warm, I know how I feel. So nobody can go to sleep. I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank the council, Chicago NPHC Council led by Joel Head, and everyone, especially Melody Bird, for everything that she has done. She is definitely, this is a great occasion. You should all be very proud of this event, as you have had it for years, and I've come for several years. It's always been a great activity. So you are to be congratulated for pulling together members of the Greek community and some that are not in the Greek community to fellowship and be together. And as I mentioned to Melody, she's a detailed individual, a person of detail, and I appreciate that. So thank you for everything that you did. I also want to congratulate all awardees today. I know you don't know who you are right now, I know that there are a number of applications that have been submitted, but whether you win or not, you're all winners because you've done the work to be able to even apply for the award. So everybody give yourself a hand. Now I became a member as an undergraduate, and some of the things that I liked about Greekdom was the collective power of men and women working together for common causes. That is the concept of NPHC, one NPHC, which is part of the theme that I know is on the national level and that you continue to working with today. And even today, as I serve as the chairman of the Council of Presidents, I'm proud of the collective efforts of the Divine Nine and how we come together to support organizations like the March of Dimes, because we are all on board with March of Dimes, and recently, or most recently, St. Jude. So I think we have a lot to be proud of, what we do and our collective support. I also recognize that although we work as a collective, there are great things being done by organizations individually. So I want to salute, just take a second to salute just by saying your name, to the men of Alpha Phi Alpha, women of Alpha Kappa Alpha, men of Kappa Alpha Psi, men of Omega Psi Phi, women of Delta Sigma Theta, men of Phi Beta Sigma, women of Zeta Phi Beta, women of Sigma Gamma Rho, who I serve as your national president, and to the men of Iota Phi Theta. Thank you to all organizations for everything that you do daily. I also want to send a shout out to non-Greeks present, because we need everyone who is a part or is a part of the community to get things done. The theme for this afternoon is ensuring excellence of our members and community through education, collaboration, and advocacy. And so I want to share with you just a few thoughts on these areas. Thoughts which I feel impact us individually and the communities in which we live and serve. One thought is that we have made progress through education. Now, wouldn't you say that most of us probably have been able to get a little bit more education than our ancestors? We've been afforded that opportunity, and we've taken advantage of that opportunity, especially in the Greek community. But the question that we are faced with today is, will our children and their children have those same opportunities? Now, today I use the word community in that universal sense, expanding beyond Chatham and Englewood communities, but referring instead to the wider community, the wider Chicagoland community and suburbs. Actually, you can say that community is where we live and the areas that we support and serve. On a personal note, I now live in the suburbs, but I am a proud product of Chicago education. As you heard President Head mention, I am a product of Lynn Bloom High School. And I know that President Head is as well, as he mentioned earlier. And I continued my education at the University of Illinois Chicago Circle, went to Governor State, but at Chicago Circle is where I found the sisterhood of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority. I am a former Chicago public school educator, and I now work at Chicago State University. How many Chicago State alums are in the room? Quite a few. But whether you live in the city or the suburbs, you know that Illinois is in a budget crisis, which impacts the Chicago public schools and many of our colleges and universities. The state is moving to take over schools, and Chicago State, an institution which has been in existence for almost 150 years, is in jeopardy of closing. Do we have any high school students that are in this room? And I think there are a few that might be getting, maybe these are college students, and I know there are some college students in the room. Will any college or high school students please stand? Give them a round of applause. And I say that because the message is to everyone in the room, but it is for you, because it is for your future. How many Chicago public school teachers are in the room? Would you please raise your hand? Quite a few. I know several years ago there were many school closings, and the school closings impacted our elementary and high school students and teachers. So the question that we must answer is, how do we ensure excellence in education for our community when the very institutions that we relied on may be closing or may have already been closed? If I want to share with you a quote from Nelson Mandela, and that quote is that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Education is important. It prepares us for excellence. With education, we can make a difference. Other thoughts based on the theme refer to the importance of collaboration and advocacy to achieve excellence in our community. A quote by Althea Gibson, the award-winning tennis player from Harlem, talked about the importance of collaboration in achieving excellence. And she said that no matter what accomplishments you make, somebody helped you. Yes. Can I get an amen? Yes. Sometimes we may want to think that we have achieved because of who we are and what we did. But remember always that somebody helped you. Yes. When I first said that I wanted to run for First Grand, which is vice president of my organization, I came to my chapter sorors and they said yes. And they didn't just say yes, they have been there through the years to give financial support and stand by my side. Believe me, I know that everybody needs some help. I went to my family second, and they said yes. My daughter is a soror of the sorority, so she knew some of what my candidacy would involve, but my husband is not Greek. So I don't think he knew what was involved in this purpose. But at the time I planned to run, it was about, what, 8 years ago or something almost, he had a new SUV. And one which I could not drive, probably. He would usually let me drive it. But anyway, I said, I've got to go to this conference and I have all these things that I need to carry. I need your support. I need your SUV. And so he let me drive the SUV to the conference in Detroit. But I know, again, firsthand that you need a little help. I know that in 2014, a team of sorority members held a golden affair to celebrate my re-election and to raise funds for St. Jude. And you, the NPHC community, came out, you supported, you were there. I know that we all get by with a little help from our friends. Everybody needs help. In our Greek community, we must continue to collaborate and share information and come together in numbers to show our power and our strength. There are several upcoming primaries and elections, which will be held soon, and although we cannot endorse or support candidates, we can come together to hold candidate forums and share information. Now, I commend NPHC for holding the candidates forum, as I've heard about the candidates for state's attorney. Give yourself a round of applause. And we must continue those kinds of events. That was great. But with the upcoming election, the question that we must all answer is, what more can we do? We must get everyone in our house that's of voting age, everyone on our block, get them out to vote. We must vote for those who support our community and know that Black lives still matter. Yes. We must collaborate with other organizations, Greek organizations, 100 Black Men, Jack and Jill, Top Ladies, Links, etc., to get information and educate anyone who may have questions. We must collaborate within our organizations because sometimes we have divisions between millennials, Generation X, and baby boomers. But if we focus on community, we know that coming together within the group and across the group is necessary to achieve excellence and success. In fact, you may even find a few baby boomers who can relate to and even understand Kendrick Lamar, and some millennials who can move and groove to Smokey Robinson. You never know. I always think that music crosses all generations. Those who know the real story or the backstory about candidates must share that information so that we can all make intelligent decisions about our future. Just think, the current governor was viewed as a solution to the ills that we had in Illinois. But the ills have accelerated after the election of the governor, and there is a fight to the finish in Springfield and all across Illinois. We must collaborate and work to make sure that we work in community for consensus building. And let all who ask for our vote know that our vote is important, and they must respect the people and the vote. The final thought that I want to share is how can we achieve excellence with advocacy? Advocacy. A quote that I chose is, if you believe you can make a difference, not just in politics, in public service, in advocacy, around all these important issues, then you have to be prepared to accept that you are not going to get 100% approval. And that quote came from Hillary Clinton. I do not speak for my organization, but I have come up with an answer for me. I do believe that we must be outspoken on important issues in our communities. We must always follow up, as they say, follow the money. I do not say that with greed, but with the idea that it costs money to get things done. And if we want excellence in our communities, we must control the dollars in our community. And the only way to do that is to have some input with the candidate. Our advocacy must be based on agendas and not candidates. Candidates can win and lose. Agendas are there for as long as we want them to be. Remember, technically, it is our money which they are being asked to manage for a little while, or as long as they respond to the needs of our community. We must advocate for legislation that we want, and for candidates who will carry that legislation through. We must provide an agenda and be strategic about achieving it. Just last Sunday, immediately or a day after the death of Chief Justice Scalia, the question was raised, who should be nominated for consideration for Chief Justice? Now, with no disrespect to men in this room or outside, I serve as president of a women's organization. So I will let you know that in discussion with about 15 other women's organizations, it was discussed that it should be a black woman. Now, I don't know what will happen with this nomination, but be prepared for a challenge to anything that the president might propose. And let's negotiate and advocate for a candidate who will be responsive to our community. In closing, on the components for ensuring excellence, I want to reiterate just a few things. To ensure excellence in our community, we must protect our educational institutions. Let's contact our Board of Ed, our state legislators, and all elected officials who can help. We cannot protect our school system and educational institutions by being quiet. You can compare it to an attack. If you are being attacked, you don't just stand there and let somebody attack you and you don't scream and holler and fight. That's the same way. We have got to let our voices be heard. And so we need to contact whoever we need to contact to get the job done. Because this does not impact us just today. As I ask those young people to stand, it impacts us for years to come. We have a collective responsibility in our community to collaborate and advocate for those things that we want. Through our respective organizations and the National Panhellenic Council community, we must talk and share. In addition, let me just share that you will be receiving information soon about criminal justice reform, and that is something that the President is really behind and pushing, and I know that just this week, civil rights leaders and specifically NPHC presidents were at the White House for a meeting. So as they say, stay tuned. Sankofa is a word in Ghanaian language that translates as go back and get it. It is not wrong to go back for what or that which you have forgotten. Sorors, fratres, and guests, we owe it to ourselves to go back and get anything that we deserve and that is ours. I think we have trusted, we have believed, and we have been faithful servants in times and places where that value has been one-sided with elected officials. Let us all work for excellence and ensure excellence by protecting education, collaborating and advocating for what we want to see for now and in the future.